have a Gochuku Mobodo to keep track of those very disturbing stories for us, so we can also learn a thing or two for our own benefits. Let's pivot to big conversation on the program this morning. The last few months of President Donald Trump being U.S. President has been intriguing and very disruptive, as expected, especially for those who followed through with his first term in office a few years ago. But it will appear that he has, if you like, upped the anthem a little, because as it stands right now, there are drastic measures that he has taken that had not been taken previously. It will appear that he's relentless and he's not stopping anytime soon, whether they have to do with economic issues, including tariffs, for example, or the resolve to continue to crack down on immigrants, whether they are legal in some cases, whether they are illegal or in some cases legal. All right, it just appear to be things that are not going to stop in the near future. And in the middle of all this, you're wondering how this affects Africa, and indeed what the implications are for the relationship between the United States and Nigeria in particular. Of course, we understand that for every president that comes into office, again, depending on the ideology of the political divide or the partisan divide between the Democrats and the Republicans, there's bound to be a certain, if you like, string of measures that will be taken by way of trying to bring reforms or reposition the United States to do better economically, politically, and diplomatically. However, in the case of President Trump, is he going too far? Has he overstepped his bounds? And what are the ramifications? I'm joined by Global TV in-house analysts this morning, helping us to find sense in political security and economic issues. Professor Ibrahim Abubakar. Prof, I'm sure you had a great weekend. You look sparkling this morning.
Yeah, sparkling. Thank you very much, viewers.
All right, let's begin with President Trump. You and I have talked about him once or twice in recent times, but it appears that once you leave this studio, something else happens regarding the U.S., all thanks to President Trump. As it stands today, we're seeing the crackdown on illegal aliens, as they call them, illegal immigrants and all that. But for the most part, Africa, and as expected, Nigeria is at the receiving end of these actions. What are your thoughts?
Oh, well, I would not want to talk about legality and illegality. Who is an illegal immigrant and who is legal? If we want to go into legality, then itself, Trump is not even a legal immigrant in United States.
Yeah, is he not documented?
Whether documented or not, he is not purely an American. His parents were never Americans. So the whole issue is that he knows and positions himself as today the president of America by virtues of the party or the nation casting vote for him, not looking at detailing or profiling who Donald Trump is. That has happened in so many political arenas and so many democratic countries. So I am not going to blame it on Americans alone, but I'm also blaming it on the purpose of security detailing and profiling. If he has been properly profiled with detailing, I don't think Donald Trump will have been the last person to become the president of America.
Right.
But going by what is happening today, America are victims of circumstance because they are facing victimization from somebody who wants to retaliate from the accord of the past. Go very well that American have pronounced so many times that America is one of the poorest nations in the world, even as they believe that they are the strongest, or people has made them to believe that they are the world police. The world police is different from your economic powers. So the structure today is that the economic power that people relate to American has been broken, and has been exposed by Donald Trump. So where is the focus point? The focus point is Africa, which mostly in Nigeria. Nigeria stands as one of the richest nations in the world. We like it or not, that we do not recognize ourselves don't mean that the foreign bodies don't recognize us as one of the richest nations in the world. So the focus is now on us, and the challenge is that we have not been able to identify ourselves. So till the period where we identify ourselves, we still remain the wounded lion who has a lot to feed on and still searching for food. It's like a tree that stands on the water and still looking for water to drink. So that is the condition of Nigeria.
Let's put some things in perspective, Prof. When you say, by your own reckoning, that America is one of the poorest nations in the world, what are the indices really? You say there's a difference between being the police of the world and being a rich country. What are the indicators we need to look at to convince ourselves scientifically that America is a poor country?
Okay, let's look at it. If America is not poor, from your education, what did America has to offer? America has nothing to offer to the world today. I'm not talking of America of yesterday, I'm talking of America of today. What has America really got to offer, technologically or otherwise, economically or otherwise? If I ask any Nigerian now, how many made in American substances or properties or so product did you have in your house? I don't think anybody will mention any.
So why do people keep running to America?
Keep running to America because we have a loose end. The loose end is that we have not been able to know our potentials. We have not been able to recover our economic detailing. We have not been able to recover our political goal. We have not been able to build a direction. So what else do? You run to enslave yourself somewhere because your governance lack direction and purpose. So in a situation where you're earning as a Nigerian the minimum salary, I don't call it wage, the minimum salary is 70,000 naira, and I cannot give you a bag of rice. It cannot give you more than 10 tubers of yam, because the tubers of yam today, 10 tubers of yam today is about 50,000 naira in Abuja. So what are you going to do with 10 tubers of yam if it is 50,000 and your earning is just 70,000 and you have other commitments? So these are the things that makes people to move, to have an orthodox movement to say, okay, even if I earn just $10 as in American, that $10 is worth about 16,000 naira back at home. So if I have $100, I'm talking of 100 and something. So it is a drive. It's an economic drive. So you are driving to reduce the weight of what you are going through in your own country. So unless the equation is balanced, there is no countries where equations are balanced. But when you are able to eradicate that poverty mind or mentality, that is when people will start looking deeply into the potentials your nation or your country has.
As it stands right now, Prof, I'm sure there's that one person, maybe more than one, watching you and saying to themselves, hold on, what's Professor Abubakar saying? When remittances, foreign remittances from the US alone into Nigeria on a monthly basis runs into hundreds of billions. So are we still fair enough? Are we still being factual to refer to such a country as poor?
Yes. When you say, what is poverty? A nation that is owing about 30 something to $40 trillion And you as Nigeria, the population of Nigeria and America, they're almost running a par. For now, there are 200 and something million Americans, there are 200 and something million Nigerians.
But any figures say Americans, the numbers have hit about 350 million.
But we are also hitting almost 300 million too.
Even though in our case, the last census we had was almost 2 decades ago in 20.
That is what I'm saying. I said we are almost running 300 million too. So if we are par and we are owing not up to 100 billion US dollars as debt, and America is owing about 40 trillion. What we are owing is not even up to 10%. It's not even up to 5%. It's not even up to 0 point something percent. So will you now say I that is owing less than 100 billion and a country that is owing about 40 trillion, we are in the same templates? No. We can pay off all our debts.
Can we?
Yes. We can pay off all our debt. What we are lacking is a direction, economic direction to follow, a path to follow. So we just generate this money and share. So every ministry, every department and agency in Nigeria can generate their own revenue. All agencies. I'm in a position of authority. I will not give any dime to any agency in Nigeria because they can generate and fund themselves.
Including agencies like the National Orientation.
Very well. Very well. Because what is national orientation? Mobilizing, educating the people. So even if we take national orientation as a social responsibility, the agencies that makes up the Ministry of Communication or Information can also fund National Orientation Agency.
And be self-sustaining, essentially.
Yes. Very well. So there is no agency, there is no ministry, department and agency that cannot fund themselves. The military, the police, the paramilitary, all of them can fund themselves. Even if it comes to the lower level, go down to ICPC, go down to EFCC and the rest, they can fund themselves. There's a way to generate a lot of money from these places. So it's misplaced priority for us to actually get revenue from other sources to fund agencies, ministries and departments that can generate their own funds. Because the people you are placing there are not thinking out of the box because you are always giving them. So these are the things that a lot of us has not carried out as a study. But for us who have carried it out as a study, knows that we have too much for ourselves. We are not even supposed to owe.
We're going to come back to Nigeria. Our own realities here, economically, socially, and politically, very soon. But let's go back to the US because that's the centrality of this discussion. Do you think, Prof, when you look at the actions that President Trump has pursued the last few months, he's been in office now for his second term, that Nigeria has responded adequately, appropriately, and very strategically?
Nigeria, from my own take, Nigeria is a country that is demerited. Like, we have complex issues, we have inferiority in us, we take everything that comes from America or from any foreign nation as the make of the time. We are not ready to stand up and tell them to their face that we are not buying this from you. That is the problem of Nigeria. We are not ready to face Donald Trump and tell Donald Trump, no, we will not take this. We are not ready to take UK, even Luxembourg, or even the smallest country in Europe, and tell their leaders that, no, this is not for Nigeria. So we have in-depth minds that states that and look before the other leaders that we are inferior. Until that complexity is removed out of us, we will remain at the standhold. So that is what is happening. Yes, we said Donald Trump, yes, but we also know that we also have the legislators. That Donald Trump is not acting on his own. The legislators in America are also acting with him. Because if the legislator stands and said, no, Trump, we don't take this, most of these will not take place. So we have, just as we have rubber stamps legislators in some other places, that is how we have them in America too. So the whole thing ends in a stable at Donald Trump. But also, we also look at the legislators. What are the legislators in America doing?
So you don't think for the Republicans, for example, it is the ideology that drives them, that aligns them with Trump, not because they are rubber stamp?
No, this time around, the Trump's government is because they are rubber stamp.
Oh, that was not the case before now?
No, that was not the case. These are things that are always very debate in the chambers, and they come out with a blueprint that every American follow. But this time around, it is popular, it is known to be that Trump is a leading brand because he spent his own money to rebrand himself and make himself the president of America. And he financed some of the legislators to come to prominence. So he dictates the tune one way or the other through what we call psychological and emotional blackmail. So you accept it or not, Donald Trump has played that kind of politics that you feel, where is this one coming from? But just as I said, even when we blame Donald Trump, we also blame the legislators, because they are the ones making the law. They are the ones forming the politics. Even when there is an executive order, the legislators must accept that executive order. It must not be Mr. President has spoken.
All right. So let's talk about this issue of illegal migrants, for example. Of course, we know that there are Nigerians amongst them. Not too long ago, we saw a few Nigerians who were also deported as part of this crackdown, for example. Is there not a reason it is called illegal? I mean, when you come into someone's country through the back door, so to speak, and then the authorities decide to deport you, is that not the legal response to an illegal action, for example? So when you say Donald Trump is not legally an American, that doesn't seem to be, I mean, that's obviously not correct, because you may say, yes, he's not a native American, but he has been legalized in the US. And what he's doing is to say that if you're not documented, you can stay in this country.
That is good. I want to also point it to you that in a situation, there is a law that says you are an included citizen after spending so many years in a country. Some people went there with just a visa of 2 years. And they spent, because American is an open space because you have the color, you have the Caucasians, you have the blacks, and you have the whites.
Right.
So these people, this classification or this class of people, when you go to a city where the blacks dominate and you are a black and you are able to twist your tongue to speak like them, you are already accommodated. So you have spent 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. Out of your 2 years visa, you have spent 3 years, you have spent 10 years, you are going up. What is necessary to be done, you have no direction of where to go, because your country, where they feel you come from, let's assume you are a Nigerian, are you still holding a valid Nigerian passport? The answer is no. So if you are not holding a valid Nigerian passport, why are you deporting such person to me who has been contributing to your own revenue? To me, such person is no longer a Nigerian.
On account of the fact that he has been away for that longer time.
Yes, it's no longer a Nigerian. So Nigerians accepting them in as citizens of this country is just a betrayal. To me, they are now a mole to American. What is their purpose of coming back? Because they have not contributed to the Nigerian revenue base in any way, all through their states. If it is in Germany, for example, the German has the concentration camp where they take such people to have a component of rebuilding them into becoming Germans. That is the law. Because you cannot send them back to Nigeria. Somebody who has spent 20 years, who has been contributing to your IGR, you are now bringing him to Nigeria to do what? And why must Nigeria accept such? That is why I said we have complexity when you are talking of diplomatic relationship. So if we are talking of diplomatic relationship, this person left 20 years ago, has spent his visa period of 2 years. You still admit him to be there for another 10, 18 years or so. And now you are deporting him back to Nigeria. Was his passport renewed all these years? Was he coming to Nigeria? He wasn't coming to Nigeria. So why do you deport him to us? Are you saying because his value, the value chain system has changed? He's no longer useful. And that is why you are bringing him to Nigeria as a Nigerian? So the immigration, the foreign ministry, and the diplomatic rules that govern this nation should be put in place, look into drastically. Was he associating with the embassy? The Nigerian embassy knows him as a Nigerian that was living in that country. What was his relationship with the councillors? So as far as that is not in place, such person cannot be deported to Nigeria.
Recently, the U.S. reviewed its visa fees and a few other policy areas. For example, before now, the B1, B2 category of U.S. visa, which covers those who are traveling for business, for tourism, and maybe family visits, all right, would be 2 years, multiple entry. But now they have reviewed it downward to 3 months, single entry. And then Nigeria responded. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Yusuf Tuga, said, well, the U.S. had approached Nigeria to allow some prisoners from a certain country to be accommodated in this country, and Nigeria declined that proposal. Help us make sense of all of this back and forth. How come Nigeria didn't mention this before now? It had to get down to visa period, validity period being reduced before Nigerian authorities come out to talk about this?
That is where we have, I told you, we have this complex issue. I have a right as a president of a country, since your clandestine certificate being sent to me, that you are a diplomat in my country, to sit down with the embassies and said, as far as my people pay for visa fee, you must give them visa.
Does any government have the power to do that?
Yes.
It should be at the discretion of the issuing country.
No. I am paying for a service. Do they refund the visa fee when they deny you visa?
But those clauses are stated in the service agreement.
Yes, but do they refund the money?
They don't refund the money because, like I said, those clauses are clearly stated in the service agreement.
Yes, but the question still remains that do they refund visa money?
They won't refund because you already accepted the terms of service.
So whether I accept the part of service or the legal agreement to the service offered,
right?
Agreement are documents you change. So the government of the country has a right to say anybody that applied for visa, as far as he's in Nigeria, you must give him that visa. It is just for you to monitor him when he gets there. As his visa expire, you have the details of the person. So I have a right to call from the council, the American council, to say, my friend, you are still staying in my country, or send a message through mail or through any other means that your visa expire in the next 1 month, your visa expired in the next two weeks, your visa expire next week. It is as simple as that, because they have your information. So how come you did not? You have to give a reminder. So you have to remind the person that you are in my country, this is this, this is that, this is the time you have a forwarding, this. They have a security network. So if you decide to elope, where are you eloping to? Because there are immigration officers, there are people tracking your movement, human tracking and everything. So these security configurations are supposed to be put in place. So you will not say somebody is in your country illegally. No way. But the information system is, I am coming to America, I am going to stay in New York. From New York, I will get to Florida, I will move to Texas, I will go to Michigan or whatever. All these informations, your movement is known because you know you are in a foreign country. Right? That is why it's a country like Israel. If you come to Israel today and in the next 2 hours you are in a hotel, if I come to the airport and ask that I am just coming in, but I know somebody flew in here and I want to know where he is, they will tell you. If he's not even in the hotel, that he went to a meeting somewhere, they will tell you where he's having that meeting. So you cannot tell me with American, which has a lot of security system, don't know that you are supposed to inform somebody that we give you 2 years visa, that visa is going to expire so day, and notify the person either through mail or through other forms of messages. So I have a right to tell people who came to my country and tell them, look, you must give my citizen visa and they will return back, and they must return back, and it is your duty to make sure they return back. Don't bring them to me as illegal migrants.
But Nigerian authorities in the U.S., I mean, particularly in New York, where the Nigerian embassy is, also turns down visa applications, visa requests from Americans. And the American government has ever said, look, because Americans are paying for this service here on our soil, you are under obligation to honor their visa requests.
Yes, because they look at it as a diplomatic tie. But there is no diplomatic tie in business.
Okay, so visa is purely business, that's the point, and it should be approached as such.
Yes. So why are you charging me if it's just something that I have to acquire and go my own way? Why are you charging? Did you know how much Nigerians are paying every day for visa application in most of the embassies, mostly in Europe and America? We makes the weight to be on us so much because everybody today, they have this slogan that said this is jackpot syndrome. So everybody is now having a slogan that if you have the money you can move. But if you make it, most of the things we do here is we have headache over things that we are not supposed to have headache over. When you go there and you face it out, you will be ready to come back. Some of them are stranded there doing nothing because of that spite of saying, what will I come back to tell my people? In some of the apartments that I have visited outside this country, you find out that just one single apartment, about 6-10 Nigerians are in one single apartment. Most of them jobless, so they end up in some varieties of minor crimes to major crimes, because in the place of want, the place of want, you do the inevitable. So when sometimes we blame, when they tell me that Nigeria has committed a crime outside this country, some of us feel very bad because of what? Because it's not supposed to be. And when you meet some of these people, they are intelligent, they have studied, and you said, why are you here? But the influence, the nation itself. So if the visa system is very easy, you go, you look at the environment, you come back. You are made to come back. It's compulsory you come back, knowing that this. So, and our embassies too are not assisting, because we are supposed to have a desk in various international airports for Nigeria. So if you are in Nigeria, you are registered by that desk, knowing that you are in that country. Knowing that you are in that country. So I wouldn't want to say the foreign ministry in Nigeria, the national intelligence agencies are supposed to are up to their game, because they are not just called intelligence agency when they are not doing their job to protect every Nigerian that is moving out of this country. Because we have embassies in most of these countries, so we are supposed to have a Nigerian desk in various airports to know who is coming in, to profile them, to comment on them, to give detailing on them as Nigerians coming into that country.
There are diplomats, some of them even experts like yourself, saying that countries that have now been affected by this series of tariffs that Donald Trump is slamming across the world have a window of, if you like, response. In other words, they can also retaliate one way or another. Europe, I mean the entire EU, is already putting a package together in that regard. What is the competitive advantage of Africa and indeed Nigeria in terms of response?
What are we responding to? Because one,
in the case of Nigeria, it's 14% tariff, by the way, so that should be basis for us to respond as a country.
No, what are you responding to? Because you must have a reason to respond. Are you responding to your lapses, or you are responding or retaliating on their lapses?
Well, they have slammed the 14% tariff on you, and economically, the natural instinct is to retaliate or respond.
So how many businesses has Americans in Nigeria? And how many Americans are coming to Nigeria day in, day out? These are the indices you have to watch first. You have to watch your indices and said, I want to retaliate. I want to retaliate must be with a good, perfect perfected line of action. So what is our own perfected line of action to retaliate? How many Americans comes to Nigeria every day? And how many Nigerians are ready to go to America? How many Nigerians apply for visa every day? How many Americans apply for visa to come to Nigeria? So you have to weigh the indices and say, okay, there could be a balance somewhere, even if the balance is not 50-50. There must be a balance of 60-40 or so. But since the balance is not even 90-10. So what are you talking about? Do you retaliate? Europe can look at it and say they want to retaliate because they have a volume of change with America. What has African going to retaliate to America? In what form? We have to look at the progression. We have to look at the indices. We have to look at the economy. We have to look at the manufacturing sector. We are going to look at the productive sector. We are going to look at export. We are going to look at import and everything. So when you look at all this and look at the classification on logistics and the rest, our transportation system and their own transportation system, look at the structures, and we don't have any reason to say this is the area we want to retaliate.
All right, we're going to look at who knows, maybe some possibility in some of these areas from which who knows, Nigeria may be able to retaliate, but we'll talk about that and also look at what all of these Trump moves now mean for the relations between the United States and indeed Nigeria. All of that coming shortly after this break. Please do. All right, Prof, first talk a bit of diplomacy between the U.S. and Nigeria. For the most part, every other time you see the U.S. ambassador in Nigeria talking about Nigeria, talking about the relationship between his country and Nigeria. He talks about how the relationship goes way back in terms of trade, diplomacy, exchange of this, exchange of that, all of which fit together have now, if you like, established a very formidable alliance between the U.S. and Nigeria. Would it not be hypocritical that on the one hand we talk about these supposedly robust, mutually rewarding relations between both countries, and on the other hand we see one country, as we say in Nigerian parlance, peppering the other?
We shouldn't cross carpet issues. Yeah. What robust relationship have we gotten with American, or less what you call the top-notch red carpet receptions that we give to American? Do American give us such red carpet reception in the US? The only thing Nigeria we are supposed to ask for is repatriation for taking our forefathers as slaves. They are supposed to pay off for repatriation. That is just what we are supposed to be demanding for. There have never been any robust relationship. What is robust in what you have done to us, to the hurt, to the harm, and to the troubles that has been given to Nigeria over the years? We have never had it good with American. We deceive ourselves to say we have been profiting from American. I will challenge anybody to come and tell me what we have profited from American so far. Is it in the growth of economic development, or is it industrialization in Nigeria, or the productive sector that America has put here, or they have come to build some components that has reflect on the life of Nigerians? Is it within the energy sector or the oil and gas sector? Where? Because when you say you have symbolic or very, very structured relationship with a nation, you have to look at the benefits. So in all put together, what have we actually benefited from American? Is it the copied democracy that we have here that does not fit to our processes as a nation? This is a diverse nation. Ethnicity, religion, tribe, culture. Nigeria is a diverse nation, very rich in every form. Then you are talking of a nation that has just one direction, that has no diversity, that has no culture.
America does not have diversity?
They don't have any diversity, they don't have any culture, they don't have any tradition.
So how about the mix of races that we have in the US?
The mix of races has incorporated as one nation without diversities.
The Indians, the Hispanics, the Africans, the Arabs,
whatever you call them, is just, America is just a topping ground where you just look at your own
right.
Yeah. So it is one culture. There is no culture, there is no tradition. So when you see a nation that has no tradition, no culture, you understand me? How did you look at it as diverse? We are diverse because we have a culture, we have a tradition, we have different ethnicities and religion. There, it is either no culture, no tradition, no diversity. It is a one-structured. It's a one-structured, centralized place where you fight for everything. It is centralized, is a very self-centered, selfish nation.
You just made a case for democracy. You said this democracy that does not suit our system, that we should do something more indigenous because we are a country rich in diversity and what have you. Is that you saying that since democracy, by your own reckoning, is not working for us, we should rethink the kind of government, the system of leadership that we have in Nigeria?
Yes, before you are from Edo. You are from Edo State, and in those days before democracy, if anything happens around Benin, you either goes to the Iyase of Benin, or you goes to the Oba of Benin, and it will be discussed. The Ogiame and all of them will sit down and address issues that reflect to the people. If there is any strange person or strange visitor coming to Benin, what happened? They informed the district head or the clan head that we saw a strange face and the rest. But we turn away all those tradition and culture. If you come to Lagos before, it is the same approach. If you come to Abeokuta, the district or the clan head, including before it gets to the Alaki or so, some of those security issues were being addressed. The people know how to navigate. You understand me? In the north, it's the same thing. The emirs, everything, the district head, the Makama, the Madakis, and the Galadimas has their rules to play, traditionally. But today, we now say there is one councillor, there is one local government chairman, there is one state house of assembly member, there is one house of rep member, there is one senator, there is one governor. So the way we interact up to today, we have men who travels to the village to see their parents, and they are coming back. They come back with plantain, gari, yam, rice, beans, onions, and the rest from their parents. An American father will not do that. You're an adult. Even to visit your parents, you have to inform your parents that you are coming. They will give you a date. That is not our culture. That is not our tradition. At 18, you are an adult and you are moving.
As in the US.
In the US,
in the Western world.
Yeah, in the Western world. We don't do that here. I have a right to go to my village any minute I wish to go there. Nobody is asking me, you did not inform us you are coming, so why are you here? They are even very happy to welcome me. That is the kind of living we live here. That is the culture, that is the tradition. They don't have this. When you go to weddings here, what are you doing? You go to weddings, you relax, they serve you, you eat and walk away. You go to a wedding in America, you are paying for the meal they serve you. So what culture is that? Is there those people today? If we continue where we are going to bring ourselves to a model where we are not sensitive to the plights of people. And I can tell you for free, because of the urbanization and the rest, you can see somebody will be kidnapped inside the city because nobody cares.
But how much can you care in such a situation, Prof, when these people are armed to the teeth? I mean, sophisticated arms, and then these are members of the public who don't even have a stick.
In the city, you have a right to question whether you are a policeman or so. They are not going to kill you. They know, the criminals know when you face them. They know they are inside the city and they can be easily apprehended. So they are not wearing uniform as if police or military uniform. Mm-hmm. You understand me? And they are holding somebody, putting him inside the car, and nobody challenge them. So it becomes a norm because it is already entering into ourselves. That is his business with them. Before you know, a crime has taken place. It is later you say, that man they took away in so place was taken away by kidnappers or by some bunch of criminals. Oh, I saw the scene. You saw the scene. What did you do? So this is not the Nigeria I know. This is not the Africa I know. This is because we are being brainwashed by the mentality of the West. And that is not what we do. We are our brother's keepers, and we have to continue to be our brother's keeper. That is not the tradition in America. So Americans don't have a tradition. Europe don't have a tradition.
In the case of Nigeria now, what do we do at this point? Because it looks like we are far down the road regarding democracy. There are those who have said, well, let's go back to a regional system as it used to be, Midwest region and blah, 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 blah. Is that not utopian? Is that not being unrealistic and living in a world of fantasy?
No, you see, we are living in a game of, when you say, they have take it all. That is the game that is playing out. Yeah, we are actually not doing real democracy, but we are living in a game of they have it, take it all. Let me not say the rich take it all, but they have it, take it all. And the more we play the game of they have, take it all, it becomes detrimental to those who are the have-nots. So, what do we do to bring back our ideology? We have an ideology. We have to bring back that ideology that will save everybody. That is not clannish. That pull us to build a society and a productive society, an economic potential society that creates wealth for not for an individual but for the nation. That is the drive we have to go back to. When insecurity is not it is play. I know when in Kano, when in those days you go and steal somebody's maize or steal somebody's vegetable or so, there is a kind of punishment they give to you that is like a shame. And it's a scandal to your family, and a repeat of such will never take place again. And it spread to other areas of Nigeria in those days. But now, no, nothing is shamed any longer, because we are not applying those rules. So the traditional value system has duplicated. The cultural value is also the same thing, where we either have borrowed from the West, and we have also borrowed from religionalism. So religion becomes the bottleneck of everybody, forgetting that we have a culture, we have a tradition, we have a way to approach issues, and we have a way of, so the traditional, we have traditional judiciary system before we borrowed from this our present legal system or present judiciary system. That one was not corrupted, because who are you going to bribe? Are you going to bribe the traditional ruler? No, you can't, because it's a man of integrity. It's a man distilled. It's a man who was bearing the suffering of his people. It's a man who, at the end of the day, will say, that man's house, there is no food. Take food to the man's house. I had that man's wife has put to bed. Take this, as said, it is from the traditional palace. That is what was happening. But today, it's not so. It is an issue of take all, pocket it and go.
But let's go back to Trump, Prof, before we take another break now. There's BRICS now, the combination of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, which many analysts now say was established to rival the G7 and all that. And there are also those who follow the developments across the world saying that President Trump is uncomfortable with BRICS, especially now that it is enjoying tremendous buy-in from different countries. Nigeria has been inducted, by the way, same thing with a few other countries across Africa and beyond. Talk to our viewers about BRICS and how it is giving President Trump some sort of sleepless nights, which has now resulted in these actions.
Well, it's not only, it's American entirely, because BRICS has come in to look at what happens to people like Saddam Hussein, people like Muammar Gaddafi, people like the criticisms on Russia over the years, which was an economic war between American and the then Soviet Union.
Yes.
So if you go down the line, every purchase, whether gold, oil, minerals, energy, are being brought in dollars, and that is what makes America to feel very relaxed that they are very rich. That is the position that makes people believe that America was a comfort zone and it was an economic hub. Now with BRICS coming in, because they thought that every other nation would have been silent after eliminating Saddam Hussein and eliminating Muammar Gaddafi. So with the BRICS coming up now and coming with countries like Brazil, Russia, India, China, which is the most populous nation in the world, and South Africa, and now other nations are being gathered in, has collapsed the American power and economy. Strangely, America will continue to borrow to maintain their portfolio for a very long time. And at a point, the collapse of America will be, no nation will be ready to borrow to American for.
Is that where we're heading?
Yeah, that's where we're heading, and that is where the economic collapse of America will start from. Because I don't see any reason why I will produce things like gold, uranium, lithium, californium, platinum, diamonds in Nigeria, and produce oil and aluminium and copper and iron ore and steel and billets and batrites in Nigeria, and I will not sell the same materials in dollars when my people are suffering here when I'm supposed to sell in naira.
But who is putting pressure on African countries to sell those items? I mean, if they know they can look inward and maximize the potential in them, nobody's holding the gun against their head.
Yes, these are raw materials. That is why I said we are supposed to be a productive nation. Where is our furnace? Where is our refineries on gold? Where is our did you know the history why I've had so many stories when they tell me about the collapse of Ajaokuta and Elijah, without looking at the detailing of what really transpired. Why is Ajaokuta or Elijah not functioning? Why is the aluminium meetings company in the Ikota Basin not working? It is our security system.
Is it?
It is not an agreement. It is not based on agreement. We did not train our security practitioners on industrial espionage and industrial security. So we could not carry out any activities when these people were developing these sectors. So at long run, the sector could not accommodate itself. Then they play it on us when they carry out their espionage activities against us. And our security people are lacking knowledge, and the rest did not even know when the carpet was swept under our feet, and we are the one losing. So no nation will actually transfer technology to you. But we were waiting for these nations to transfer technology to us. So if I transfer my knowledge to you, what do I stand to benefit? These are the areas we are not thinking about, and this is what happens.
Does Nigeria look coming to you like a country that is learning its lessons and deciding to say, let's take a second look at how we have behaved ourselves the whole time in terms of our relationship with the West, especially the United States?
No, we are not learning. Instead, we are getting ourselves deeper, more involved in their clans and glories. Deeper. It's like we are even leaving the fry pan to the fire straight. Let it burn us as far as I have spoken to some people who tell me that is it not better for them if they can benefit, which is normally financially, and leave something and leave behind something for their children, born and unborn, than waging the flame of fire that is not going to benefit from in his lifetime, or not benefiting his children, looking at the gain of 30-50 years to come. But so when you look at such set of people, are they having the drive to develop this country? No. Are they looking at the drive to develop themselves? They forgot that even if you have, let's say, even when you have made trillions, your children are still going to work. Your children are still going to work. And if we have to look at even the theories and history of the prominent people we have gotten, who we call the wealthy or the rich people we have gotten in this country, those riches did not transfer from one generation to the other. They are all collapsed. No one, you cannot mention anybody in Nigeria today that you will say his riches has transferred from his generation to another generation to another generation. Let's say how we have second or third generation.
That's wealth being transferred across 3 generations?
Yes. It's not there in Nigeria. It's not there. So if you mention the names, you will just know that as far as the heir to that estate has gone, everything collapse.
Okay, let's collapse this part of the conversation quickly because we need to take a break now. When we return, we'll look at Africa. I mean, a country of dozens of nations. What exactly are we doing to strengthen ourselves from within so we can be a more, if you like, formidable player on the global stage? We'll talk to you about that when we return from this break. All right, Prof, let's begin to tie things up now on the program. Africa, from the last counts, has at least 54 nations. That's quite a number of them. Of course, we can sit here all day and argue that some of them are not very economically viable, but it still doesn't take away from the fact that the continent has the numbers. All right, so doing well over 1 billion human beings, some of the brightest human beings as well in this country, on this continent, and all of that. Europe, for example, is now strengthening itself. It's now, if you like, rallying around itself to say, look, one way or another, we need to respond to whatever it is that President Trump, on behalf of the US government, is doing, and things like that. Are we having that sort of conversation now in Africa?
No, that conversation will not take place because the idea of the what we call the Organization of African Unity, which is transformed to African Unity. The idea,
that's the African Union, right?
Yeah, the African Union. The idea of the African Union, which was the Organization of African Unity, the ideology has already been killed. That the patronage is already not a patronage. The detailed concept to that establishment is no longer functioning. It is totally out of place right now. It's just like the ECOWAS. The ECOWAS established by Kwame Nkrumah and the rest is not the same ECOWAS we have today. So unless we want to rebuild these systems, just like I said severally, that if I am a leader in Nigeria, I will excuse myself from the United Nations because it's of no benefit to Africa.
Are you saying these multilateral institutions, they've overstayed their welcome?
Yes, they were there for a purpose. And if you want an institution to remain, you have to actually add up and bring up more modernized ideas that unify your people. So if we establish of the OAU, which is the Organization of African Unity, was to get independence from the colonial masters and fight for independence for the lesser nations. That has been done. I don't think there is any nation in Africa today that is under the threshold of the colonial master. So if you want that place to remain, you have to bring other ideas that would either be economic ideas for the nation, for the union, or you bring in productive or industrial or other structural inputs to build up that organization. As far as that is not done, they are no longer welcome. They are supposed to collapse and go. Because what they are doing now is Tea Party.
Both ECOWAS and AU?
Yeah, it's Tea Party. Where they just sit down, drink tea, have their nice time, have some people to present papers, and everybody walk away. No longer No, it is no longer what it's supposed to be. The founding fathers established this organization for a reason. And that is why I mentioned UN, United Nations. Can you believe that since the establishment of the United Nations and the United Nations Security Council, Africa are not members of the Security Council? So why should I be in an establishment when I'm not recognized, or a union that I'm not recognized? Are you saying that we are not intellectually okay? We are not in any way human enough to be members of the United Nations Security Council? Why must we have one G7, one G this, one G that inside the same security United Nations? So what group, what fundamental voice or power does Africa have in United Nations? So we have to look at things critically. We are not supposed to be contributing to something that is not of benefit to us any longer. And anybody who tell you some African nations cannot sustain themselves, the person don't know what African is. Because there is no country in Africa today, even the poorest of the poor, that has no potentials to create their own economic weapons. Africa is so blessed and rich that we are not supposed to be talking of poverty. I'm not talking of Nigeria alone, the whole of Africa. But the Western press, the Western organizations, the Western imperialists has demerited and also cloud us to believe that Africa is poor, and we cannot make it unless we depend on them.
Okay, so
it is over dependence on the West that is actually affecting Africa and its structure, not to identify their potentials.
So how can Africa, if you like, cut loose, so to speak, the West? I mean, how can we divorce ourselves from the apron strings and influences of the West?
You have to dig deep. You have to think deep. You have to act deeply. That is the only way we can get ourselves out of it. We must make sure that we are on our own very superior. It's just like a man that has been born and now feel that no, I cannot be under the cause and caprice of my parents. I have to build my own self. We have children here that cannot build their own self because they have already been made to believe that without their parents or one uncle or one soul, they will not be able to stand on their own. So till we mix our mindset to say we can develop ourselves, we don't need the West to intervene in our own internal issues, we will not get there.
Let me just bring in an angle, so tie it up real quick. 18th of July every year is Mandela Day. So this last Friday, I had a guest here together with whom we had a very incisive conversation about not just Mandela as a person, but a figure that reshaped Africa and became a global brand, if you like, for politics, for economy, and of course for social change. When you look at Africa today, I mean, in the absence of the late Dr. Nelson Mandela, do you see anybody who comes close? I'm not saying anybody like Mandela, anybody who comes close in terms of the qualities that he advanced?
We have a lot of them. Most of them are not known, and most of them are not names. They are not household names. But I can tell you this for free, that we have a lot of them that have broken up. The problem is that how do we identify these people that have been broken up? They will be broken up for some reasons. Most of them are tribal reasons. So most of them are because of fear and fears of being exposed. So they withdrew because they are cowards into believing that their input will mean nothing to the society, to the public. That is the way it has been. So when those people are cowards, it becomes very, very difficult for them to come out and speak and end their view and bring out ideas that will liberate our people.
All right, Prof, I'm afraid this Western well I was leave it today. There's one word that is very resounding: liberation for our people. Apparently, until Africa is liberated, there's next to nothing it can do in terms of the competitive advantage it brings to the global stage. I'd like to say a big thank you to our guest this Monday morning. Professor Ibrahim Abubakar is our in-house analyst on economic, security, and political matters here on Global Television. Prof, thank you so very much for coming.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take a quick break, everyone. When we return, Jomai and I will